Hi everyone, my name is Alana Newhan, and I did my project on the skeletal system. So the first article I chose was on diabetes and diabetes being related to bone fracture risks. This article discusses a study in which there seems to be a relationship between diabetes and bone fracture risk, a relationship that goes beyond what can be explained on the basis of bone density. For the study, they based their findings on control groups and found that more individuals in the control groups experienced osteoporotic fractures rather than those with diabetes, due to diabetes increasing bone density. Because of this, researchers believe that due to diabetes combating the effects of being overweight or being obese, diabetes provides some fracture protection in the short term, but this effect is overcome by complications associated with diabetes. I chose this article because I thought it was interesting that diabetes could have an effect on something like your bone's durability. My second article that I chose is about data found on juvenile rheumatoid arthritis from a hospital for sick children. Juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, or JRA, is an autoimmune disease that sees the body's cartilage as foreign and destroys it. And in contrast to other forms of arthritis, it starts at a young age. JRA is not easy to diagnose because inflammation and damage can occur without any clinical symptoms. However, through the use of a contrast-assisted temporal mandibular MRI, damage can be clearly observed. This article discussed the importance of these MRIs and in this way that they should be standardized, because these MRIs can be essential to early diagnosis and internal monitoring of JRA. I thought that it was very interesting how something as helpful as this imaging is not standardized in hospitals, even though it may be the only way to diagnose JRA. I chose this article because I have JRA, and when I first went to the doctors, they couldn't diagnose me for years until I had an MRI of my temporal mandibular joint, and I also chose it because I agree that this should be more common in practice in the pediatric field. And lastly, I have an article entitled Bone Marrow Transplantation in Reference to Multiple Sclerosis. In this article, it discusses an experimental bone marrow transplant study started in order to see if replacing the immune system could stop multiple sclerosis, or MS. Out of the people that were a part of this study, results have been mixed, with some gaining stabilization of their MS disabilities, while others had a modest improvement to their pre-existing conditions. After the bone marrow transplanting, there is some very positive early results, but doctors hesitate to get ahead of themselves. This is because while the potential for continued success is possible, it is necessary that the study be conducted over a period of 5 to 10 years to determine if the initial good results will be sustained long term, as complications could still occur. I found it interesting that these kinds of studies have a certain length of time that they must reach before being considered a success or a failure. And I chose this article because I wanted to learn about MS and bone marrow transplants, because I had never gone as far into depth as I did when I was reading this article. And thanks so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new, because I know I did.